Hi everyone, I'm Vishal, one of the directors of CLAT Prep. In this video, we are going to discuss the logical reasoning section of the Score Booster series, mock number 1. If we talk about the logical reasoning section, there were overall 30 questions which was divided into 6 passages of 5 questions each, of which some of the passages were quite easy to crack. So that is what we are going to see in this video, that is the solutions of the questions which belong to each and every passage. So first passage, if I talk about the first passage, it was based on the standards used by YouTube to allow or disallow any kind of content. The author also raised some rhetorical questions in between with regards to religious supremacy and some criticism being made of famous personalities. Also talked about the mathematical algorithm which is used by YouTube to remove some content. Then also it talks about the vulnerability of YouTube of social attacks. Now, let's come to question number 1. Which of the following is an assumption of the first statement of the passage above? The first statement says, France have been as appalled as this long-standing backer of free speech and individual rights at the arbitrary and incomprehensible decision by YouTube to demand of the CSA that the video be removed for non-compliance with its standards. Video should be removed for non-compliance with its standards. At the same time, the author says that this was arbitrary and incomprehensible decision. So the assumption has to be in line with this kind of opinion being made by the author in this particular line. Let's see the options one by one. Number 1 says, author considers himself as one of the biggest advocates of free speech. First of all, biggest word itself gives us a very clear hint to remove and to eliminate this option. Biggest cannot be used because nowhere it is mentioned as such. It cannot be assumed as such. Also, this is not in line with what the statement talks about. Second, author and his friends are of one mind on all issues related to free speech. Maybe the author and his friends are on one line with regards to this particular action taken by YouTube, but we cannot say this that he is assuming that it is on all issues. On all issues obviously makes us forced to actually eliminate this option. Option C, author believes that a person is entitled to an explanation for any action taken against them. That is why he called this particular action of YouTube as arbitrary and incomprehensible. That means he was under the assumption that YouTube should have given that explanation as well. So option C can be taken as a valid assumption, but let's see option D as well. Author considers the management policy of YouTube as random and devoid of logic. Maybe this particular action may be assumed as devoid of logic by the author, but we cannot put a question mark or we cannot say that he is under the assumption for the entire management policy of YouTube. So therefore D also can be eliminated on those grounds. Hence option C is the correct answer. Let's move on to the second question of this passage. 107. What is the reason behind the following questions asked by the author? I said the author in between had asked some rhetorical questions which belong to religious supremacy and the criticism made on personalities. So that is what also it is asking, or is it the writer's consistent stance against religious supremacy such as that showcased by the Taliban? So obviously, what is the reason behind this question? The rhetorical questions are always asked in order to insinuate the malicious actions of someone. So to persuade that something which has been done wrong, वो एक तरीके से दिखाया जाता है rhetorical questions में. It doesn't always seek response. So that is why on those grounds I can easily eliminate option A, option C and option D, because option A, C and D all talks about giving responses, while that is not the objective of rhetorical questions. Hence here the answer would be option B. To cast aspersion means to attack the reputation here, to attack the reputation of YouTube in removing the videos. That is what the objective of questions here were. So therefore option B is the correct answer. Moving on to the next question. What is the author imputing in the sentence? If so, should a platform headquartered in a democracy be so vulnerable to reflect censorship caused by targeted efforts by the social media warriors of powers hostile to modern, moderate societies? By this statement, the author is obviously trying to, showing his incredulity that the platform, YouTube platform, is quite vulnerable to social attacks. So which of the option is talking about it? We will definitely go for that option. Option A says YouTube has disallowed itself to be attacked by nefarious. Disallowed, sorry, this is exactly saying the opposite. In fact, YouTube has allowed itself to be attacked. So therefore A can be eliminated. Option B, YouTube cannot condone censorship of any kind as it is supposed to be. Of any kind. So condone censorship ka matlab YouTube cannot approve any censorship action, that is of any kind. No, it has that right. So option B can also be eliminated. Option C, YouTube has displayed inexplicable vulnerability to censorship attempts by subversive elements. That is what the author is saying, that it is vulnerable to social attacks. Option C clearly encapsulates that idea. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Right? Option D again can be eliminated because of the word despotic power. Right? Despotic means something which can be done in a very unfair way, using of power in a very unfair way. YouTube doesn't do so. So option D can be eliminated. Hence, here the correct answer would be option C. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage? Let's see. Option A. Author is aggrieved mainly because the videos removed was very important for him. Very important for him. No such mention is being made in the passage about it. Therefore, option A is ruled out. Option B. YouTube removed the videos surreptitiously without a word to anyone. No, YouTube has actually declared that it is going to, it has removed the video. Without a word to anyone is not the correct one. So again, this is ruled out. Option C. The social media controlled by rogue nations forced YouTube to withdraw the video. It is not that it forced YouTube. The YouTube, probably they used some mathematical algorithm wherein this video was used. That is what the author is talking about, and which is clearly coming in option D. YouTube uses mathematical algorithm to decide whether a video needs to be removed or not. It is clearly mentioned about the mathematical algorithm in the mid of the passage, if you see. So therefore option D will be the correct answer here. 110. Which of the following represents the message that the author is striving to convey? YouTube can do better and must if it is to retain the loyalty of hundreds of millions. That is why the author is penning this piece of article. This is the main idea, that YouTube can do better and must if it is to retain the loyalty of hundreds of millions. So first is definitely the message which the author is trying to give us. Option B, second says, people who believe in freedom from arbitrary action that curbs the right of free speech must stop using YouTube now. Must stop using YouTube is very, very vague and very extreme action. Therefore, here only first statement is something which the author is trying to give us as a message. Hence, option A will be the correct answer here. Now, let's move on to the second passage. This passage was all about the 3 farm laws being revoked by the government. At the same time, the first paragraph talked about how the farmers are not still happy because they are still demanding some other things like law on MSP. At the same time, this particular paragraph talks about the need of the farm laws with regards to Indian agriculture sector. In the second paragraph, the author though supported the farm laws, but then it criticized the way it had been implemented by the government, as in not taking the consensus of the stakeholders, that is the farmers. And in the third paragraph, the suggestion came from the author how to reintroduce the farm laws, highlighting its importance. Now, let's come to the first question of this passage. Author says the laws were well intentioned, still there were protests against the law. Which of the following can be deduced as reasons for the protest? Option A. The manner of the passage of bill displayed a condescending attitude which alienated others. Yes, that is what the first para talks about. Second, government's inability to convey the merits of the bill cogently to the relevant stakeholders. That is why they are saying that the relevant stakeholders here are the farmers who were not well convinced that this farm laws eventually will help them. That is what the author has talked about in the passage. And third, before such dynamic reform, it's imperative that all participants are consulted and wide-ranging discussions take place. Again, talks about the same thing. So therefore, I can say that A, B, C all can be taken as the reasons for the protest. Hence, answer would be all of the above. That is option D. Next, which of the following is the most appropriate fit for the blank at the end of the passage. So let's see what was the last statement. It is only by evolving consensus that results can be produced. Okay, if we talk about the formation of the last para, before this line, it is saying that reforms in a democracy like India can neither be done through stealth nor through rammed through. So basically it is talking about something cannot be forced upon. It is always by consensus. That is what the suggestion by the author came out. So therefore, if we need to continue this, the theme of this line, I would say government must do well to heed this, because this is what the author is cautioning or trying to suggest the government here. So option B fits perfectly in the blank. Option A and option C can be eliminated on very easily, but option D and consensus is tougher than coercion. Basically this can be eliminated on the ground because the author has actually come out of the criticism mode, and in the last para is more on the recommendation mode, which perfectly reflects in option B and not D. Hence option B is the correct answer here. Now question number 113. Which of the following can be inferred from the sentence, reforms in India can neither be done through stealth nor be rammed through? So option A says, if a law has not been passed by stealth or rammed through, then it must be a reformist law. No, this is basically a distortion of the idea. If a reform is attempted to be passed by the stealth or rammed through, then it must be in some other country and not India. It is not talking about other countries and all, irrelevant. Therefore option B is ruled out. If a reform in India has been legalized, then it must have been done with consultations to encourage participative discussions and build consensus. देखो अगर आप स्टेटमेंट को देखोगे तो क्या बोल रहे हैं, reforms in India can neither be done through stealth nor be rammed through. That means the author is of the opinion that if it is done, then it has to be done by taking into account all the stakeholders as well, by consensus. So option C clearly reflects that idea. If a reform in India has been legalized, that means it has already been legalized, it has been passed. That means it must have been done with consultations, because that is what the author is saying. It cannot be rammed through. So option C looks perfect here. Let's see option D as well. If a law has been passed in India and people are not objecting to it, then it is most probably not a reform. Again, a distortion of idea. So here the best possible answer would be option C. Next, which of the following is a valid conclusion from the first paragraph? From the first paragraph, number 1, option A says Farm Bill envisages wider involvement and more opportunities. Okay, if we talk about the last line in the first para, you see the farm laws try to address some of these vexed issues by encouraging diversification and opening up produce trade. And इससे पहले वाले लाइन में ये भी लिखा हुआ था कि notwithstanding the government's backtracking, the 3 farm laws did represent much needed reforms for the agricultural sector. It's clear that Indian agriculture in its present form is unsustainable with adverse implications. तो ये जो भी इश्यूज हैं इसको फार्म लॉज बेसिकली एड्रेस करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, किसके थ्रू? बाय एनकरेजिंग डाइवर्सिफिकेशन एंड ओपनिंग अप प्रोड्यूस ट्रेड. सो ऑप्शन ए, फार्म बिल envisaged wider involvement and more opportunities can be reflected from this. So I would say option A can be a valid conclusion from the first para. But option B says farm bill is unsustainable for the environment and economy. No, it is not unsustainable. It is the present form of Indian agriculture which is unsustainable. Therefore B is ruled out. C, farm bill has vexed issues. Farm bill was trying to address these vexed issues. It itself doesn't have vexed issues. So option C is ruled out. Option D, farm bill was an abortive attempt to legalize MSP. Out of context. MSP तो in fact farmers फिर भी protest कर रहे थे, वो demand कर रहे थे law on MSP के, इसके बावजूद कि farm bills को revoke कर दिया गया था. So it was an abortive attempt, cannot be concluded. Hence option A is the correct answer here. Next, which of the following is likely to be the main reason for the author penning this piece? Okay, number A, to underline the need for reforms in agriculture. No, not to the reforms in agriculture. Need for reforms is not the correct idea. Option B, to castigate the government on its handling of farm bill. The author is not trying to criticize, because the author, though it supported farm bills, but then it also said how to, suggestion was also given how to reintroduce it. It is not purely about castigating. Then C, to congratulate the farmers on a well-earned victory. No, it is not about all congratulating the farmers. D, to emphasize on the need to build consensus for reforms. That is what the main idea of the passage is, that why. First of all, it talked about the introduction, the revocation of the 3 farm laws. Then it talked about what went wrong, and then it came out with suggestions. So therefore, to emphasize on the need to build consensus for reforms, consensus was the main suggestion which was given by the author, and it was only the reason for which the failure of the farm laws took place. Therefore, the main idea for this particular passage would be to emphasize on the need to build consensus for reforms. Now let's move on to the third passage. The third passage was all about RBI and its decision taken over few events, like not letting the industrial houses to become the controllers of the banks. At the same time, it talked about the external and internal defense of the banks, that is banks boards and the RBI itself, and then talking about the poor decision making which led to high credit GDP ratio, at the same time bad loans problems and all. So this is what the passage talked about eventually. It also talked about the risk factors involved when the the boards are being made by not independent directors but someone who is indirectly involved in it, that is the industrial houses. So question number 116, which of the following will the author most agree with? RBI made the right call in not accepting certain recommendations of the committee. Very well explained in the first paragraph. Let's take the example of the industrial houses not promoting banks. So this can be agreed. Second, corporate ownership of banks carries too many risks which may overwhelm the regulator. So that is why it takes that in a country like India, the risk potential overweighs the benefits. So therefore, second is also the correct one. Third, central bank did well to avoid the risk of divesting ownership when facing the crisis related to traditional banking. This is again mentioned in the second half of the first para. So first, second, third, all are those options which can be agreed with, and therefore option D is the correct answer here. Question number 117. Which of the following is a cause and effect relation as mentioned in the third paragraph of the passage? Bad lending decisions led to increase in risk aversion. Bad lending decisions, it only led to the bad loans problem, and that eventually led to risk aversion. Therefore, this can be a cause and effect relation. Let's see, do we have other better options? Option B, increase in credit GDP ratio led to the surge in NPAs. It cannot be very conclusively inferred, because there were some other factors like poor decision making as well. Therefore, B cannot be the correct answer here. Not a definite cause effect relation. C, surge in NPAs enhanced the risk appetite of the banks. It is not that it enhanced the risk appetite. In fact, it enhanced the risk aversion of the banks. Therefore, C is again a wrong cause and effect relation. D, loose monetary policy led to an increase in the risk aversion. In fact, this is the other way around. Hence, the correct answer is option A. Question number 118. Which of the following will strengthen the implication of the statement? The real transformation in banking is coming from tech companies. If we need to strengthen this particular statement, obviously we will be talking about the role of the tech companies or the technology which will lead to this transformation. So let's see. Number one statement, a core function of traditional banking payments has already been disrupted by fintech, and now big tech is pushing the envelope in financial intermediation. So it is obviously talking about that role which will be played by the tech companies. So this will further strengthen. Option 2, data is central to the digital economy. It has given big tech an opening, leading to the so-called DNA, data network activities feedback loop advantage. So again, it is talking about the role played by the tech company again. So therefore, second also strengthens this. Third, navigating the tech risk is the emerging regulatory challenge, and the debate over industrial houses promoting banks needs to be buried. It is not talking about the role. In fact, it is talking about the challenge which will be faced by the tech companies. Therefore, option 3 is not a strengthening factor. Here the answer will be first and second. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Let's move on to the next. Which of the following entails a conflict similar to the one mentioned in the statement? The biggest risk of allowing industrial houses to promote banks is the inherent conflict of interest. Inherent conflict of interest क्या है यहाँ पर? If the industrial houses themselves promote banks. The banks are the intermediaries where the lenders and the borrowers they meet, and the banks play the role in having a fair play, and that is what the role of stock market is. Stock market is regulated by the owners of the listed companies. So if the listed companies is only regulated by the they start regulating the stock market, then again there will be a conflict of interest. Hence here option B is the correct answer. Very evident, need not to explain the other options, I believe. Next, 120. In context of protecting the integrity of banking system, which of the following suggestion will the author agree with? In context of protecting the integrity of banking system, so we need to find out the suggestion which would help to protect the integrity. Number 1, option A, RBI should work in consultation with the finance ministry. No such mention is there in the passage, therefore option A can be ruled out. Finance ministry की कोई बात नहीं हुई थी. Option B, banks boards should be composed of banking officials and not have independent directors. In fact, the author says that there should be independent directors. This option says exactly the opposite, therefore B is again ruled out. Option C, the composition of the bank boards need to be stipulated and monitored. That is why they are saying that involvement of the independent director should be there. That is the suggestion coming out. Therefore, the composition of the banks, it should be monitored. Hence, option C can be something which is in line with the suggestion given by the author. But still, option D, another line of defense needs to be established. Though the passage talks about the two lines of defense, that is internal and the external, but there is no such suggestion for another defense needed. Therefore, D can be ruled out. Hence, option C is the most appropriate choice here. Now, let's move on to the next passage, that is the fourth one. This passage was all about the state of poverty in the Hindi heartland states like Bihar, Jharkhand, MP and UP. Then the author also criticized the leaders of those states for this particular state of poverty. Also, it also talks about the revocation of the farm laws, which is adding to the worry about the economic development. Then the last paragraph talks about the multidimensional poverty index and also the NFHS findings. So let's see the first question of this particular passage. As per the first paragraph of the passage, which of the following best expresses the relation between the two statements? 4 states hosting 30% of Lok Sabha seats are among the poorest. Heartland misery is a message for India. Heartland misery is a message for India sounds like an opinion, and 4 states hosting 30% of Lok Sabha seats are among the poorest. This is a fact given to us. On the basis of this fact, this can be a valid opinion. Therefore, first acts as the premise while second acts as its conclusion. So therefore, option A, first is the premise and second is the conclusion, is the correct answer choice. Second, which of the following is an assumption implicit in the statement? The heavy poverty burden, despite tremendous political heft and massive welfare funding, index heartland netas. So the word despite clearly states that the political heft and welfare funding has a role to play in this, right? So statement number 1, political capital and leverage play an important role in alleviating poverty. That is why it is talking despite a tremendous political heft. Matlab it was under the assumption that they play a role, important role, right? Second, welfare funding is intended to reduce the poverty level of region. Again, massive welfare funding, again the word despite clearly makes us assume this कि welfare funding is intended to reduce. So second is also a valid assumption. Third, netas are responsible for ensuring effective utilization of welfare funds. Now if you look at the last part of the statement, index heartland netas, that means they are accusing the netas of this, that is they are responsible for this. So all the 3 statements can be taken as a valid assumption behind the statement so made. Hence answer would be option D, that is 1, 2 and 3. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following can be inferred from the statement? But NFHS 5 findings of 60% women and young children facing malnutrition uncovers the limitations of welfareism and conversely the importance of economic growth to create enough jobs. Uncovers the limitations of welfareism. That means that the author is trying to say that only welfare, state welfare cannot play an important role to remove poverty. In fact, it is also the economic development is also required. So If you look at the options, option C clearly says the same thing. Welfare schemes needs to be complemented adequately with abundance of economic opportunities. That is what the author is trying to say from the statement. Hence, option C is the correct answer. 124. Which of the following cannot be inferred from the statement? Performance here depends to an extent on India's sprawling welfare state, which has admittedly gained more mastery in delivering household amenities to the poor. Okay, so cannot be inferred. That means out of the 4 options, I need to choose that option which is definitely very far-fetched, or something which is definitely cannot be inferred. Option this is a more comprehensive way of evaluating poverty than a monetary assessment, because it takes into account health and the standard of education, standard of living as well. Therefore, this would be considered as a more comprehensive way, hence can be inferred. Option B, this method is also influenced by the distribution efficiency of the government. That is what it is talking about, state welfare in the passage. Therefore, this also can be inferred. Option C, this is purely a reflection of the overall wealth generated in the society. It is not only about the overall wealth, it is also talking about some other factors like health, education, standard of living and all. Therefore, C cannot be inferred. Option D, this is an indicator of improvement in the quality of life of the citizens. Clearly stated, when we talk about health, when we talk about education and standard of living, it is actually an indicator of improvement in the quality of life of the citizens. Hence, A, B, D can be inferred, but option C cannot be inferred because it takes into account only overall wealth, wherein the author talks about other factors as well. Hence, option C is the correct choice here. Moving on to the last question of this passage. The last sentence of the passage can be construed as the last passage. Over to the heartland netas, Nitish, Soren, Yogi, Shivraj and so on. So basically the author is trying to caution or say suggest the netas here, the leaders here, that you need to work on the welfare mechanism as well. So it is in a way trying to appeal them. So let's see. Option A, an appeal to the national leaders to improve the welfare state. A plea to the heartland leaders to own responsibility and take remedial action. To rebuke to the regional leaders to admit to gross dereliction of welfare duty. To request to the tardy politicians to confess failure and relinquish responsibility. D can be ruled out. It is talking about tardy politicians as a whole. A can be ruled out because it is talking about national leaders overall. So here since we are limiting ourselves to the heartland netas, therefore a plea to the heartland leaders to own responsibility and take remedial action. That is what the author is trying to suggest. The corrective measures to be taken as and when required. Hence, option B is the correct answer here. Let's move on to the next passage. It was all about the concerns raised by the author over the new variant of COVID and the lessons to be taken from the second wave. Also, it talks about the warning signals given by South Africa. Then talks about the 3 bulwarks to be adopted. One about air travel curbs, second about strong disease surveillance, and third, vaccination. Now, let's see the questions one by one. Which of the following will best capture the essence of the passage? Be wary of the danger ahead. Very vague. Second, fortify 3 bulwarks against B 1.1.5 to 9. This is what the author talks about mainly. The second and third para in fact talks about this only. So this can be taken as one of the options. Let's see. Third, South African scientists have blown the bugle. Basically, this is an intro why the 3 bulwarks has to be adopted and the introduction to it, but not the main idea. D, India needs to curb air travel and vaccinate all. 2 mentioned, 1 is missing. Hence, the best option choice would be option B here. Moving on to the next. Which of the following cannot be concluded from the statement? But INSACOG that was set up in December 2020 with 10 labs and a target of genome sequencing 5% of all positive samples has only grown to 28 labs sequencing under 0.1% samples. So let's see. INSACOG is a body established to conduct genome sequencing of all international travelers. Not only international travelers, but instead it is all positive samples. Not all international travelers, but positive samples. Therefore, first cannot be concluded. Then moving on to the second, INSACOG has achieved less than 1% of its target since its inception. Less than 1%? No, it cannot be concluded. 0.1% out of 5% comes out to be approximately 2% of it. Therefore, less than 1% cannot be concluded. Second is also ruled out. Third, well, the first and second cannot be concluded. Third, INSACOG needs at least 1400 labs to achieve the target of genome sequencing 5% of all positive samples. जेनोम सिक्वेंसिंग 5% ऑफ ऑल पॉजिटिव सैंपल्स, अभी तक 28 लैब्स हुए हैं. 0.1% मतलब इसका 2% है. सो 2% अकाउंट, सो 28 लैब्स डजेंट मीन दैट for 100% you would require 1400. There is no proportionality here. Therefore 3 also cannot be concluded here. 1, 2 and 3 all are invalid conclusions from the statement. Hence answer would be option C, 1, 2 and 3. Moving on to the next question. In the context of statement COVID-19 is a nimble enemy, author is implying that the response needs to be COVID-19 is a nimble enemy. Nimble enemy का मतलब होता है very swift and fast spreading. So if it is fast spreading, it is very swift. Obviously, the action has to be immediate. And because the author also talks about certain mutations taking place in the passage, also it is very, very fast spreading. So we need to be very, very alert on the corrective measures to be taken. That is, you have to be very dynamic. So option A, immediate and dynamic, suits the best one, best option here. Option B, C and D are all talking about time consuming measures to be taken, therefore they can be eliminated. Hence answer is option A. Moving on to the next, which of the following will describe author's assessment of the warning sounded by the South African scientist? A, they have jumped the gun without properly establishing the effects of virus. No, in fact, author is commending the work of South Africa. Therefore, A can be ruled out. It is not criticizing. B, they have relied more on instinct and premonition than actual data of hospitalization and death. No, again, it is in the criticism mode while author is commending the work of South Africa. C, they have given an early warning to prepare other nations to take necessary precautions for the possible wave. That is what the author is talking about. You need to take lessons. You need to be very, very alert by the warning signals given by South Africa. So C can be a correct assessment. But let's see option D as well. They have unearthed the most vicious and mutable variant of virus ever discovered. Very, very vague and extreme because it is saying most vicious and mutable variant also ever discovered. It cannot be the correct assessment. Hence answer is option C here. Next, which of the following is a government action that author will definitely endorse? Ban all international flights. Though the author recommends the curbs on air travel, that doesn't mean that all international flights can be banned. This is very, very extreme. Banning and curbing air travel is not the same. So A can be ruled out. Quarantine travelers from suspect countries. Yes, this is what it is saying. Positive samples was talk about. So quarantine travelers from suspect countries is a valid action that can be endorsed. Option C, booster shots for all COVID patients. Not only for COVID patients, but also for all people. Everyone requires booster shots. So C can be ruled out. D, double vaccination of all non-resident Indians. NRIs are not being mentioned as such in the passage. Therefore, this cannot be taken as the correct answer. Hence, the best answer choice here would be option B, the most appropriate one. So let's move on to the last passage of this particular mock. This passage was all about the adoption case which took place in Kerala. Anupama and her partner Ajit, they had complained and they demanded their 1-year-old son back from their foster parents who adopted their son when he was just 3 years old. He was just 3 days old. At the same time, in this passage, they highlighted the public officials ignoring all procedures. At the same time, they also talked about social conservatism, right? Let's see question number 131 here. Which of the following about Kerala, if true, will strengthen the imputation in the statement? An upsurge of social conservatism is visible in Kerala. Obviously, I'll have to talk about all those which actually reflects the nature of social conservatism. Option 1, frequent reports of honor killing over caste and family status. Obviously, this is one thing which signals social conservatism, hence 1 can be taken. Second, low participation of women in the workforce despite their relatively higher education levels. Though higher education levels, still low participation in the workforce of women again talks about something which is reflecting social conservatism. Near absence of women in leadership positions in political parties and public office. The near absence of women in leadership positions again talks about cultural problem, and therefore I can say that it reflects social conservatism. Hence here answer would be all option 1, 2 and 3. In the statement, while Anupama's parents have contested her version of the story, it seems clear that public officials ignored procedures and due process to support the conservative view. Which of the following is most likely to be the conservative view referred to? The conservative view here, obviously, the entire passage talks about the fight between Anupama and her parents. So basically, what the author wants to convey from here is that the conservative view here is nothing but the still we need to take the consensus of the parents about any social social decisions or anything related to their personal lives as well. So option A, an adult woman must necessarily obtain her parents consent for her choices. That is what the author has highlighted. Hence option A would be the correct answer here. In with regards to the passage, obviously option A fits as the best option. Next, in the context of Anupama's case, which of the following can be the fault lines referred to in the statement? The case has brought to the light the fault lines that threaten the gains Kerala is widely seen to have made in the past few decades. Okay. So we need to say which of the following can be the fault lines as per the Anupama's case. Number 1, the imperiled right of an adult woman to choose her partner and raise her child. That is what they are talking about. They did not accept Ajit as the partner. They were trying to separate them. So obviously A can be talked about. And raise her child, that is why the adoption case took place, because that was done by the Anupama's parents only. So 1 can be a fault line. B, the influence of institutions such as caste and family in shaping society's attitudes towards individuals' choices. Again, the main crux, that is what the passage is talking about. The author clearly reflects a role of Anupama's parents in the adoption case. So second can again be taken as the answer. Third, the ability of a ruling party to dictate the functioning of public institutions and subvert due process. That is why the author is criticizing the public officials in the procedures adopted and also talking about the party involvement here. So hence 1, 2 and 3, all 3 can be referred as the fault lines here. Option D is the correct answer choice here. Moving on to the next, 134. Which of the following will best describe the attitude of the author towards actions of Anupama's parents in the case above? Option A, he understands the reason for their actions but does not empathize with them. He does not understand. He is actually criticizing the action taken by Anupama's parents because he is against social conservatism. A is ruled out. B, he empathizes with them. Again, there is no sign of empathy from the author. Therefore, B again can be ruled out. C, he considers their actions to be symbolic of social ills plaguing the society. Yes, this is what the author is talking about, social conservatism, and it is clearly reflected in option C. Hence, C would be the best answer choice for this particular question. Let's move on to the next question, the last question of the passage. Which of the following is most likely to be the idea of the next paragraph in the passage? So let's see, before moving on to the next paragraph, what was the author talking about? The last line says, Anupama Chandran's assertion of her rights as a mother and a fight for agency as an individual and woman resonates beyond Kerala's borders. So now it is saying that it resonates beyond Kerala's borders. Matlab in the next paragraph, the author is most likely to talk about certain scenarios and similar situations which is taking place in the other parts of the country. Let's see which option talks about this. Option A, how Anupama won her baby back, doesn't very well go with the last line, so option A can be ruled out. B, how other women are reacting to this, no, not at all. Other reactions not talked about. How this case is affecting the politics in Kerala, it is strictly limiting itself to Kerala, and that too talks about politics, hence can be ruled out. D, how such incidents have national footprints. That means how this can be this is present in the other parts of the country as well. Hence I would say option D is likely to be the idea of the next paragraph. So this is all about from my side for the logical reasoning analysis. I have given you the detailed solutions of each and every questions, eliminating the options wherever possible, and then giving you a reason why the correct answer choice is the correct one. Stay tuned for the analysis of other sections as well and the other mocks. Thank you so much.